Game on.
Now, bearing in mind, Stevens had a pretty good week making that final at the Pro Tour. You still have to take into consideration the European Tour form as well. Of course, Stevens had a pretty stellar year on the Euro Tour, constantly qualifying. Has been a seed on the odd occasion as well. But yesterday he had he called it a bit of an off day and still got away with it against Patrick van den Boogaard.
Yeah, I was going to make the point that I think it was a good time, or a good occasion, a good match, I suppose, for Bunting to have an off day, because he was able to afford to have an off day against a player who came through the qualifiers on Thursday night. And even though he missed, in the end, 16 darts at a double and averaged only 87 and a bit, he was able to get over the line with a 6-4 win.
Sometimes you've got to win matches with those stats, and you can easily go back to your hotel room thinking, oh, I played really poorly today and things like that. But Stephen is the kind of player that he gets the win at whatever cost. He's not fussed about whether he averages 112 or whether he averages 75. It's just about getting the win and beating the player in front of you. He's got that much experience in the bank. He knows exactly what to do and how to react to certain performances.
Well, Bunting would love nothing more than to not only win this match, but then to settle down in front of a TV later on and watch his beloved Liverpool do the business against Newcastle in the Premier League. Darren Webster's Norwich City will be in the Premier League next season. That's already assured, so he's got no such concerns this weekend.
I will be pulling for the Toon,
49.
but we shall see what happens later on with that. Now, Darren Webster's left 99 by accident. He does like double top, but that one's way over the hurdle.
52.
Well, this is for a break of throw in the very first leg. 2 darts at double 16 for Bunting, and he only needs 1, and Bunting is off the mark. Yeah, 3 appearances on the Euro Tour so far this year for Stephen Bunting, a quarter-finalist in Hildesheim. He had a really good chance against the eventual winner, Daryl Gurney. Lost that quarter-final 6-5. But certainly there for the taking, and following that he was certainly ruining what might have been third round defeat at the German Darts Grand Prix, losing to Michael van Gerwen, who he could well face in the third round again, by the way. MVG or Steve Lennon await the winner of this one. But a first round defeat by John Henderson last week in Saarbrücken, 6-5.
That was a very good game between Hendo and Bunting last week. There were lots of good games, admittedly, but that one stuck out for me. That was a real tight encounter, and 59. At the end of it, Hendo chipped a really big finish of 142, I think it was, to edge that one 6-5.
134.
But Stephen is just scoring way heavier than Darren in this match. Seems to be playing within himself and had a lovely rhythm. Double 16 again. You can see plenty of that.
31.
He did flick off the flight and ricochet rightwards. Left himself on double 8 when he comes back.
140. Steve Newquart, 16.
So this for a 2-0 lead for Stephen Bunting, just to settle him down further. Said he needed to sharpen up on his finishing as opposed to the standards he set yesterday, and he's so far doing that. Comfortable once again on the double 8s. 7 previous meetings between these two. Webster leads the head-to-head 4-3. Their most recent meeting was at the Masters earlier this year, Bunting winning that one 10-9. And it was also a deciding leg that settled it when they met in the European Championships last year as well. Webster coming through 6-5 on that occasion.
And the only reason why Stephen Bunting had the opportunity to beat Darren Webster is because Gary Anderson pulled out with injury. So that was a nice little bit of profit, unexpected profit for Stephen.
Yeah, early bonus to start the new year. Only averaged 86.5 in that 10-9 win over Webster at the Masters, but it didn't matter too much for him. Don't think he minded too much.
Well, Darren Webster's had a bit of an eventful couple of days, hasn't he? He accidentally booked the wrong flight. He didn't book the flight that he needed to get here on time, so when he realised, which was quite late, he then had to get in touch with the airline company and get a drastic flight over here at the very next moment. So that's cost him a few pounds sterling. And then he had a little accident in the bathroom this morning where he banged his head.
I was wondering where that was going for a moment. Are you going to elaborate on that, or should we just leave that
Well,
one?
apparently he bent forward and lost his balance and smacked his head against the wall. I mean, it's not what you want to do when you're about to go into a match where you need, you know, all of your
faculties working.
faculties. That's what I was thinking about. Now, can he leave himself a double 16 again? Possibly. He's not really got anywhere near both of his targets that he needed there.
We made the point in the last match between Searle and Lewis. A lot of players missing the obvious big target, the big number target, with their first start.
You've seen a lot of that. You're absolutely right.
Bunting there was on 89, but he strayed into the single 7. Still had a chance.
100.
And he has a chance once again at the expense of another fairly unpunishing leg for Darren Webster. Bunting looking at 50. Has he hit the... Yes, he did. I couldn't tell at first if he'd hit the double or the single, but, well, by hook or by crook, he's got the job done.
I'll say one thing, Rob. The most startling thing about that little exchange from Stephen was just the...
140.
I'm trying to put this in the right context. The amount of time it took him to realise he was on double 7. It's almost like he was going for that.
57.
He didn't even hesitate. I think 99 players out of 100 would have stepped back and said, what have I got left? Oh, I've got double 7. But it's as if he knew he'd hit that double 18 when he let go of the first start. Astonishing.
45.
Yeah, big kudos to the spotters. Or the spotter. We have one. That's Richard Ashdown. And he saw that coming a mile off. I wonder if Stephen's done that before. Well, if this was a football match, Liverpool would be 3 up and Norwich would be on the ropes.
100.
Who's going to be promoted to Sunday here at the Austrian Darts Open, where it's been a seeding bloodbath this afternoon. And will we be seeing another one go in the shape of Darren Webster? It's looking extremely likely.
Well, on the evidence of what we've seen so far, I would venture to suggest that we will see another seed fall by the wayside. Bunting has 2 breaks, but Webster may just be about to make his move on the Bunting throw here. Bunting, though, can respond in kind, looking at 86, and he's now looking at double 16, more orthodox for Stephen Bunting. But Webster has very little margin for error here. In fact, no margin for error.
Another
one of
needed.
those. Oh, he's just the wrong side.
Saw it clatter into the flight and just carry it over the top of it there. And Stephen is staring at 4-0. 2-8. Gets there. And this is all going Stephen's way. It's not his best performance, but it's very effective.
Well, I don't think we've had a whitewash so far this weekend. Certainly haven't had one today. I don't think we had one yesterday. And Bunting is 2 legs away from dishing out the bageling here on Darren Webster. 4-0 to the good.
Well, if he gets the donut game, then this will be a couple of days to forget for Darren. Because if you look at that seeding number next to his name, he is very precariously placed because people are climbing the seeding chart and he is slipping a little bit. We've already seen Michael Smith confirmed that he's not going to be seeded for future European Tour events. He's back to the qualifiers. Could it be the same for Darren?
Yeah, well, Webster is 15th on the Pro Tour Order of Merit right now. Seeded 16 here. The seedings for this tournament are based on the Pro Tour Order of Merit from a couple of weeks ago. But Webster again endured a very disappointing double-header in midweek on the Pro Tour, taking home just £500 in prize money, suffering an 8th first-round defeat in his 12 Pro Tour events this year. Double 12.
39.
Yeah, there have been 14 Pro Tour events this year. He's only played in 12. He's lost in the first round on 8 occasions.
I hate to say it, that's just not good enough.
Titus Karnik did for him in the first round on one day in Barnsley in midweek. Although I suppose that's since been put into a little bit of perspective by what he's done this weekend. Double 3 for Darren Webster. And this would really, really hurt if Bunting were to pounce with this 152. Flights all over the place for Webster.
Slap those darts out the board in anger.
Well, never really got going that campaign, did it?
It's almost as if Stephen has already given up on this leg and just expects Darren to hit this double 3. Well, he can get it over the top of that. But can he get it over the top of that one?
Yeah, he's had to move to the left-hand side a little bit, and he's busted his score anyway. And Bunting, well, he's still got a chance, but it might have been a much more manageable target had he really got to grips with that last visit.
Stephen's had to reset himself again because the flight came out from Darren's dart once more, but this time Stephen gets a shot. It's a double 18. Yeah. Oh, that's going to sting.
Wow.
So they get Stephen to throw first. Game on.
A darting nightmare for Darren Webster.
Check out and a nightmare for Darren Webster. Bunting was on 152.
100.
Only scored that 38. That looked to have handed the initiative to Darren Webster just to get the leg on the board. Still couldn't capitalise on double 3. Missed all his opportunities. And you have to say this is looking like a very, very bad day at the office for Darren Webster.
Well, you look at the leg breakdown for Stephen, it's steady. And a 91 average reflects that.
100.
He can put in the 105s and the 108s. Maybe not so much this season, but it is in his locker. But the 84 from Darren, that's not going to beat many people in this draw. That doubles percentage for Stephen is very good indeed. That's where the pros are aiming for, 50 and above in the percentage. And all he wants is a 6 in that column on the left-hand side. He wants 6 out of whatever number.
Well, it was 8 missed darts as a double for Darren Webster to trim the deficit to 4-1. I mean, it may have been too little too late anyway, but when it's not your day, it really isn't your day. Bunting here closing in on a 6-0 win.
Now, the way things have gone for Stephen in this match, I was just about to say it's all gone his way, but he's had a bit of bad fortune there. But if he gets the 6-0, he must be thinking that Liverpool are definitely going to beat Newcastle tonight.
100.
It's gone well for Hendo. Celtic have won the title. Can Liverpool do for him what he's about to do to Darren Webster?
1-2-1 for Stephen Bunting. Gets the 25 to leave 96. That leaves double 18. And Stephen Bunting devastating finishing. 1-1-4 check out in leg.